Thank you for coming to our workshop on professional dress. This is one of many workshops that we've had this week, and there's a couple more. You can see those on your ticket. If you get 3 or more stamps, and you come up to the Center for Career and Calling, tomorrow you get a free...
Friday.
Oh, I thought tomorrow was Friday. Friday. You get a free leather portfolio. Pretty exciting, right? There's also 2 events that you can attend, upcoming events where you can practice your dressing professionally, and that's the Winter Career Mixer on February 13th and our Etiquette Dinner on February 20th. Our guest today holds an MBA and a PhD in Consumer Apparel and Retail Studies. She has served as a consultant to businesses and individuals on branding and professional development. In addition to conducting workshops globally on professional dress, please welcome Dr. Raedene Copeland.
Okay, thank you for your attendance today. I'm actually pretty excited because we have a full house, which is great. My topic today is never truly quiet. Control what your dress says. Now, when we talk about your dress, sometimes people don't understand the significance of controlling what your dress says. Now, when you're thinking of defining dress and appearance, it is anything visual to the onlooker, right? So when I look at you, I start in those first 3 seconds, I'm making some mental impression of who you are, right? And that's all based on stereotypes. So any modification you make to your body, that is called dress. Now, why does it matter? Because you should be thinking about how you're branding and marketing yourself for hire. So, as I said, research shows that you have about 3 seconds to create an impression in someone's mind. It's not even, I mean, we all do it. The fact that I'm standing here and I wore red shoes, why? Because, hey, you're gonna look at me like, oh, that's an interesting choice. But I can do that, right, as a presenter. Because I can take some element of creative thing and then I want to keep your attention. So then I think, hey, a red shoe will at least get them to focus a little. But ultimately, you want to make a good impression and you also want to be memorable. I always remember Simon Cowell from American Idol. Anyone watch American Idol here? Good. Do you remember this comic book? He always goes, when they're getting ready to choose like their finalists, he goes, who's that person? I don't even remember that person. Right? So what I got from that message is that, hey, you don't only want to be good. Like, you may be the best person for the job, resume-wise, but if you're not memorable and there's someone who is a close second to you, then they may go with that person because ultimately businesses want to hire people who can make an impact. And it's cool not to be the most flashy dresser, but you also don't just want to blend in and be forgotten, right? So in an interview, it's a competitive environment, and to compete, you need to be distinctive. Right, so this is what you want to be thinking about. I always show this chart. I mean, Doritos, you know, chips. Who don't love chips, even though they don't love us, right? But ultimately, you look at this, you go in the grocery store, you feel for some chips, you're off your diet, right? And then you decide, what do I want to eat? Now, if, let's say, you know, I'm from Trinidad, so when I first came to the country, I mean, junk food in America is expensive. So I go to the store and I'm thinking, well, which one do I want to choose? Right, so which product should I choose? Based on appearance and whatever you know about it. Which one should I choose to eat? Doritos? Yeah? Okay, so let's go with Doritos. Right, because it's red just like my shoes. Okay, so we're going to go with that. But your decision to choose Doritos may not only be based on the appearance of the Doritos, you may know some information. You may be able to do something because Doritos may have branded themselves a certain way. Right? So how I want you to think about yourself is I want you to think of yourself as a product. Right? That is my angle to teaching you why it's important to focus on your dress. Right? You are a product. You're the bag of Doritos. You look at Mercedes-Benz. You think of yourself as a product. Think of, okay, what's on the outside, right? No, think of yourself as marketing yourself. This is where we want to start. when you're marketing yourself, you have to ensure that what's on the outside, which would be your dress and appearance, you want to make sure that it matches what's on the inside. Now, your dress and appearance is going to get you in the door, but it's not going to get you the job, right? So what we're trying to focus on here today is not eliminating you as soon as you walk in and the interviewers are like, is he or she here from an interview at this company? Okay, they will still interview you. I mean, they already put aside your time. But now you have to kind of build yourself up from this negative first impression to show them what's on the inside is really, really good, right? So just like a bag of Doritos. And the interviewer is the consumer, right? So the interviewer is looking at you amongst all the other competition, all the other brands, if you want to look at yourself like that, and trying to make a decision on which person they like on the outside and on the inside, because you are an entire brand. Right, so when you think of brand in terms of business, it's a name, term, design, symbol, or any other feature that is distinct from the rest. So this is why, as a consumer, when you go to the grocery store, sometimes it's really easy for you to do your shopping, right? Because you have certain brands that you trust and you feel, okay, I've tried this brand, I know what it looks like, it's reliable, I'm just going to pick up this brand. I don't care if there's a new brand on the shelf, I'm not going to even look at it or try to purchase it. So after a while, hiring managers, they become really, really good at identifying strong brands. And that's what you have to start to package yourself as. Right, so I just had a little fun with it. So there are different aspects to a brand. There's the brand identity, right? The outward expression, your name, trademark, communications, visual appearance, right? So these are two brands that you would know pretty well. Visual brand identity, when you look at Ann Taylor Love, they have branded themselves a certain way, a certain type of dress, certain colors they use. J. Crew, on the other hand, you see they're not as colorful as Ann Taylor. You can already see a distinct brand like differentiation here, right? So they're more muted, you know, Michelle Obama wears a lot of J. Crew. And then when you look at the guy looks totally different to maybe an Express model, to a BCG model, you know, the guy looks different. So this is all about brand identity. So you want to make yourself distinct in your visual branding. Attitude branding, right? Just do it is from what? Nike good. You see, they have successfully branded themselves. They don't even need to put Nike in an advert. They don't even need to put the swoosh. You know what that is, right? Yeah, so attitude branding. Why I want you to focus on this is because someone can dress you. I can dress you in the best suit, but your attitude has to match the brand that you're communicating. I understand. I was a college student one time. I used to be so nervous going into interviews. Sometimes the interviewer used to be like, I can tell you're really nervous. Calm down. Right? So these are things that you just have to practice and practice and practice and identify your weak areas and go in there with the right attitude. Now, being nervous is expected, but at some point, you have to master your nerves so you can project the right attitude that you're trying to leave them with, right? You want them to create the right impression for you. Right, so you see, look at this teacher here. What is the attitude she's projected? Oh, don't all rush at once. Come on. What's the attitude she's projected? Strict. You see, so we understand. What does he project? You see, that's what I'm saying. So when you walk into that interview, they know exactly what attitude you're presenting. There are students that go into, or interviewees that go into interviews and they project this, I'm better, you know, I'm better than you. You would be lucky to have you, right? Now, that's the attitude you want to go in with, because ultimately you don't want to go in begging for the job. You want to go in like, look, I know I'm the best person for this job, and I'm going to show you why I'm the best person for the job, but ultimately I also want you, your company, to be the best company for me. So even in this branding and marketing yourself, I want you to also think of adopting an attitude that says, I want to work for your company, but only if your company is a good place for me. Right? So that's what you want to think about. Okay, so brand awareness. Do you know these people? No, you don't know these people. Who's this guy here? Okay, who's this guy here? That's good. And who's this? You see? You don't even need a name. So they have successfully created some level of brand awareness. And the more you go into your corporate careers, according to what industry you're in, right? At some point, you're going to gain some level of brand awareness. And people talk, right? This is what they're going to say. People talk, word spreads, I mean, faster than anything else that would spread. But you really want to develop a strong brand and have some consistency in the messages that you're communicating through your dress and behavior. Now, brand trust, this is you being authentic. So as I say, you walk in the door, you sit down, your dress depart, you're smiling. They have to trust that what you have on that resume and who you're projecting yourself to be is a good match, right? Because they're seeing that resume before they see you. So they want to make sure that, okay, this person matches that resume and what I see on the resume, right? So I just have different pictures of people and you can decide, you may have different feelings about how much you trust the individuals on this slide. You don't have to go to it. Okay, so what's the big picture here? Your nonverbal, which would be everything you're communicating in your dress and appearance, right? That's before you speak, must match your verbal and it must match the business environment that you're interviewing for. Right, so why company care? Well, they care because ultimately you're communicating that company's brand. So you're a brand and that company has a brand identity and they want to make sure that the individuals they're hiring are perfect matches for what they have constructed their brand to be. Okay, so this slide is important because there are a lot of layers when you think of branding yourself and think about how you want to present yourself and if you want to work for that company, right? So not every job you go to, you would need to wear a suit. You need to call, ask them, what is the corporate culture here? How should I come to the interview? Don't do that on your own. Show interest because you have that one time to make that impression. So you want to make sure that you're not showing up in a suit for a construction job. What would you communicate to them if you show up in a suit for a construction job? What do you think is the culture of like construction companies? More laid back, blue collar worker. So the best example I give for this is when the candidates are running for the presidential election. Do you see how they intentionally dress differently when they go to different places, right? So when Barack Obama went to Michigan, what do? Take off the tie, roll up the sleeves. They dress totally different because they want to communicate that I catch you. I really understand you. By the way, can you vote for me? Right, so that's the intention. I mean, ultimately there's a goal, but I just want you to notice when you watch TV, don't just watch it for, okay, just be a troll. Watch it and really understand, like politics, they have behavioral specialists, they have dress specialists, they have non-verbals. They're a brand and they want to make sure that they communicate, that candidate is communicating everything as seamlessly as possible. Right, so dressing for the interview. Right, so I have a slide with just women's essentials. A suit, blue or black. Usually, they prefer like midnight blue. Blue is a little softer. It doesn't matter, black suit works also. It's just that different colors communicate different things. So a blue suit would ultimately be the best, like midnight blue. But it's fine if you have a black, right? This is just knowing best practices. Blazer, you need some blouses, shirts. A black dress is a girl's best friend. Everyone should have a black dress. A solid color dress, that could be a neutral color. According to the industry, like if you're in the fashion industry, you can wear more colors. You have more leverage, right? Because people expect to see you communicate what your career is going to be, right? A coat, a watch, a good watch, black or brown bag. Make sure it matches the color of your suit to some extent. You don't want to call it any other attention. And it's not the time to go blinging with any brand names unless you're going into a job in the fashion industry where brands would be important, right? They want to see that you're aware of what's going on in the industry. Black flats, stockings, and hygiene. Now remember, hygiene is important because you're communicating. If you douse yourself in perfume or cologne, as soon as you walk in, you're communicating with that interviewer. And if the interviewer starts sneezing or the interviewer feels like your cologne or perfume smell like your grandma or grandpa gave you, you already now have the interviewer sitting on like this. Okay, so that's a problem. Right, but everything, I mean nails. I remember in undergrad, oh my God, that was a mess. I remember remember in undergrad, sometimes forgetting to take off my nail polish. I don't even wear nail polish anymore. It does not stay on. So I would just leave nail polish alone. Because once it chips and you're so nervous for that interview, you're literally in the interview like this. Trying to hide your nails and you're nervous, and that's just too much work, right? You want to be comfortable. Okay, so these are some examples of some suits you can wear. Right, and we'll talk about handwear. You have basic black shoes, or maybe a brown pair of pumps, not too high. Make sure you can walk in them. Yes, everyone is going to tell you to wear some form of heels, but if you do not walk well in heels, you definitely don't want to walk in the interview, right? In the interview like that. And earrings, you just want it to be modest. Some modest earrings. This may even be too much. As I said, it depends on the industry. But when it goes in regards to dress, it's better safe than sorry. Necklace, modest. Right? Nothing to draw too much attention to yourself. You want them to focus on who you are and what you have to offer, but you do not want your dress to be a distraction. That's the whole point of it. Right, this is a slide I got from this website, corporate.com, showing different lengths of pants, right? So right here, this is too long, right? And it's fine, you know, some people like the bohemian chic thing, you know, that's their look, but for the interview, it might be a little long, right? So, this is too short, right? So you want your pants to at least reach, you know the bump in your foot? Everyone should have a bump on their foot, right? You want it at least to reach some part around there so it covers most of that top region there, right? So you see where mine falls? Great, you see the top of my shoes? That's exciting. And of course, this would be cropped and tapered. But the whole point of the story, right? Moral of the story is this is too long and this is too short, right? Okay, so men's essential, similar, a 2 or 3 button suit. The more buttons, the more stuffy, right? So 2 buttons, good. 3 buttons, really, really formal. Before you sit, you want to unbutton your jacket so you're not sitting and pulling, right? So these are things you have to know. Overcoat, dress shirts, ties. Ties and the kerchiefs, right? The hand kerchiefs. They are your opportunities to express yourself. So you may have a really eccentric style. Take advantage with those 2 items and possibly your socks. Right, so this is not the socks that, well, this is not the time to have the, you know, like the, what I'm looking for, those fiction things, you know, those socks that you hold there, your lucky socks. Just have something that looks more professional, but it is your way of expressing yourself if you want to do so. The belt, black and brown, matching with your suit. We will see that on the other slide. A leather briefcase. Everyone should have some form of case or folder for their documents. An umbrella, especially for guys. If you're in a rainy place and you're going to lunch with the interviewer, it would be really nice if you can offer to, you know, shelter the interview from the storm. But, you know, but these are just things that, okay, you build over time. And this presentation is not that, okay, you graduate and you become these things. It's just to get you thinking of things that you can collect along the way. Yeah, cut your hair, that goes without saying. And a watch, a dress watch versus a sports watch, right? So these are things you can ask for as gifts. Rather than getting the next video game, you ask for these things as gifts, right? I would say no accessories unless maybe you want to be a model or something where they want you to express yourself, a tattoo artist. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Now, usually they would say, you know, in modern fashion terms, they would say, hey, you can express yourself a little more with this. This should not necessarily like match your suit. It could be contrast to your tie. You want to tie your tie properly and have a dimple. Now, as I said, according to the industry, they may not. No, I mean, in the fashion industry, they will be way more critical. In other places, maybe not. But I think people have an idea of what a tie that is properly tied looks like. So these are just things to think about. And this little chart here is kind of cool because it tells you if you're wearing a navy suit, you can wear black or brown shoes. If you're wearing a mid-grade suit, you can wear black or brown shoes. If you're wearing a charcoal suit, go with black. A brown suit, go with brown. Black suit, go with black. Right? So these top 2 here are the only 2 that you could wear black or brown shoes and get away with it. But other than that, the black suit with the brown shoe, not so much, right? Not so much. Okay. So some of the accessories, definitely there are all types of dress shoes out there. The lace-up dress shoes tend to be the most popular in terms of a professional environment. But just make sure that it's well polished, of course. Socks, as I said, you can express yourself with your socks. Cufflinks, they understand that you're a student. You don't want to go in, there's another thing you have to think about, right? So you don't want to go in for the job just blinging on. Oh, I don't even need this job to deserve. Yeah, you know, so it's okay if you have your little diamond crystal cufflinks. But you may want to keep it on the low, right? They don't expect you to wear cufflinks. You're a student, you're supposed to be broke. Like literally, they expect you not to have any money. So you kind of want to think about that because once again, you're communicating something. And if you're acting like you've been working for 15 years, they're looking at you and be like, she's kind of pompous. They came in here. And I have to understand individuals, we all have our different hang-ups. So you just don't want to draw any unwanted attention, right? So you have like a nice jacket, your belt should match your shoes. Alright, your belt should match your shoes, or even your suit, no. It should match your suit. But also you don't want the black suit with the brown belt. I would just go. Yeah, well anyways, we already said that you don't want to go that way if you match your shoes. Right, and these are just my pictures with general information. Okay, so let's keep moving. Invest in your future sounds great, but I'm broke, right? So that's a double fist bump. Okay, now I can relate because I was a foreigner. Like, if you thought you were broke, I was really broke. So, I mean, the exchange rate is like $6 Trinidad to $1 US. So it was really a very interesting undergrad experience. But that gave me some skill sets, right? I had to figure out how to look the part without having mommy or daddy to ask for money, without having anybody to ask for a gift. So I just saw what resources were out there. So there are the big retailers, right? Nordstrom, and I always tell my students they really like Nordstrom. I was like, I can't quite afford a suit in Nordstrom, but hey, my students may know something that I don't know. But I understand that Nordstrom is kind of cultural here in Seattle, right? They have their headquarters, so more than likely you'll grow up just going to Nordstrom oftentimes. But if I'm going to go to these places, I generally would look for sales or coupons or changing seasons, because when they're changing seasons, they're trying to get the garments out from the previous, right? The previous styles, they're trying to set it up. That's a good time to get some good outfits. Discount retailers, these are my favorite. TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross, Burlington Coat Factory, wherever is an off-price retailer, that is a good option if you're trying to bargain shop. And bargain shop is not only for the broke, right? A lot of rich people bargain shop. Why? Because you can get the same quality garment that you can get at a full price retailer. Explore different zip codes. So if the Ross in your area doesn't have anything good, go to the Ross in a different zip code. Right, but ultimately a lot of my suits like Attire and Calvin Klein, I got them from Ross for $39.99. And I was very happy. I mean, I was doing a happy dance, right? Because they're good quality, the same suits that someone else may have bought for $180, I got it for $40. So it works. Procuring money, as I said, redistribute your funds. When you transition into your senior year, you need to start thinking about yourself as a corporate individual, and your money, you should spend it differently, right? As I said, you should start asking for gifts that can set you up appropriately for your career. Okay, so garment quality check. Just do some simple things. How often we buy a garment in a rush and then go home and look at it and I'm like, not so much. This is not a great purchase. So you just want to make sure the fabric feels good, right? Because you have to wear it multiple times, and if it's not feeling good against your skin, then you're going to be uncomfortable. Does it look cheap? So yes, I have directed you to Ross and TJ Maxx and these places, but there are a lot of cheap looking garments there. You need to direct yourself away from those, right? Because as I said, you can get a Tahari suit for $40. So there's no need to go cheap, right? And you want something that would last. Does it peel, right? After you wear it one time, are you going to have like thread balls? Hold it to the light, does it shine? Right, seams tug on it, and when you try on your garments, you may want to do a squat or something. I mean, see how it's going to operate when you sit down or bend over in that type of setting, if necessary, right? Make sure they fit appropriately. Now this handout you got would show you where your seams should fall. So you want to make sure that you keep that with you. Just look at it and make sure that your shoulder seam is not out here or up here. That's kind of awkward, right? Okay, your hemline, make sure it's the appropriate length. Is it straight and even? Especially if you're shopping at off-price retailers, they may have garments that are irregular, so you want to make sure you do these checks. The zipper doesn't work correctly. I mean, we all have had zipper issues. Buttons, are they even? Do they have the right amount of buttons? We've all had button problems. And do they fit without tugging? So when you put on your suit or your shirt, you don't want it to tug. Right, so lining, does it feel soft? Like silk or rayon? Is it kind of itchy? You feel like it's crunching under your jacket? It's not cornflakes, right? So we don't need any crunch. We just want it to be smooth, so when you move, you feel comfortable. And the details, there may be details on your garment, but does it look flimsy or cheap, or is it like a quality addition? Right? So this is the chart that I was speaking of. I put it together. The point of just showing you this is to let you know that some have been socialized into assumptions, and we all have been socialized into assumptions, right? So let's see, well, hold on. You see, look at that. I wore red today. Why? Because I want to be bold. I'm a presenter. I want to command attention. I want you to think that I'm high energy, even though I really am. But still, this is what the color can do, right? What else I said? It's a call to action. I wanna like help you leave here and decide, you know what? I'm gonna take stock of my dress and appearance because I now realize it's important. I am a brand, right? And what else? That aggression part. We're gonna take that one. Okay, good. So there's some other associations here with different colors that you want to think about. Let's see. Green. You have an idea what green communicates, right? Look at that. Nature, money, health, healing, compassion, balance. And the way you can think about this is the more you go to different websites for corporations, if it's an eco-friendly website, they always have green on their website. So it's not by chance. Like branding is a very intentional process, and that's what I want you to think about. A lot of people who are very successful, especially if they're in a corporate role where they have to interact with individuals and influence people to take a contract, they work on this over and over and over again, right? Because it's not enough just to be good. Whew. Okay, so now we're gonna have a model presentation. Right, my students, my darling students, come up here. This will be your models, models. They're a little shy, some of them are a little shy. All right, and I told them give me a mix of professional, business casual. I just told them dress. They're all students just like you. So you can tell me who is communicating what. You tell me what you think. Raise up your hand and what you believe they can work on. So this is all constructive. Some of them have done this before, so you can say, hey, I feel like, if this person is going to this industry, they may not want to wear that, or they may want to do something different. Okay, so let's go. Model number one, that's how we're going to go. Model number one, where is she going? Come to the middle here. So what is your feedback? What's your initial opinion of where she's going, what industry she's going to work in? So professional dress, you think professional dress, okay, good. What industry she could be possibly going to? Accounting. Accountant, okay, and what makes you feel as if she's going to interview with an accountant firm?
Because she's in a suit.
She's in a suit, and there's this association that, hey, if you're going to get an accountant job, you have to be in a suit, and definitely accountants are not the most outwardly expressive people, right? So we have this association with who accountants are, right? Okay, anything else? Do you think there's something she can improve? Some tips for her before she goes on her interview? What is the attitude she's communicating?
Does the length of the skirt, does it need to be longer, or is that, above the knee, is that okay for a professional?
Yeah, okay, so this is a good length. They said you don't want your skirt It could be longer, but your whole goal is when you set, you don't want it past like 3 inches above your knee. And you can always wear stockings to account for that rather than, go beyond that. But that's fine. Okay, anything else? So what you said she was communicating?
Power.
Pardon me?
She's communicating powers.
Oh, power. Good. Yeah, that was good. Anything else? Anyone else got a different message from her posture, her dress? Yes?
You look confident and confident as well.
Good. This is great. You see, real good. So good. This is a good exercise. Okay, so anything else? Anything she could improve on? Anything you want to mention? Yes.
Well, depending on the position you're going for, you were wearing no color. It's all monochrome and possibly a little bit round with the shirt. It's hard to tell in the sleeve. Also, your belt looks really light on that skirt. So even if it is black, you might look for a darker black belt because it pops out a lot.
Okay, good.
But other
So,
than that, you do the blazer fits. So that's good.
okay, good. So you're looking at the fit of the blazer and you think she would benefit from having a shirt with a color. So it's just not.
Depending on what she's going.
Depending on what she's going for. That is very, very, very good feedback because the more critical feedback you give is the better you're able to analyze yourself before you leave your house and go to the office. Okay, good job. Model number 2. Okay, so where is he going? What type of job? Let's start with that. What type of dress?
Looks like a businessman.
Oh, see my guys are speaking up. He looks like a businessman. Good. What is he communicating? He's part of the team. Okay, so what made you feel like he's communicating part of the team? Pardon? He doesn't look powerful. So he looks like someone who would fit in well in your company. He's not coming to take over. Okay, good. So, remember I spoke about that. You don't want to come across too intimidating, like if, I've been managing people for 20 years, you should hire me, even though I'm only 21. Right? So he's communicating that he can fit into a team, which ultimately they want to ensure that you can fit into their corporate culture. Anything else? Where is he going? Where is he going to interview? What kind of company? What you think? Hi guys. Yeah.
Finance.
Finance. What makes you think he's going?
His suit's too playful to be accounting.
Oh. Okay, so is he negotiating contracts or anything, or he's just in the finance
I
department?
like it. I like the brown shoes too. I just feel like if he was in finance and I met with him, I'd be more willing to talk to him about my finances than if he was just wearing an all black suit.
Okay, what about the glasses? Anyone have any feelings about the glasses?
I don't like them.
Okay, but that's okay. That's okay. Now,
If
honey,
you like them for every day, great. But I wish you didn't wear them in that suit.
so you think that his glasses should be more muted?
I think if you talk to a good optician, they'd probably be really good at fitting you with a frame that fits your face really well. Because right now the lenses, they look really big. And everything else about your suit is smaller, a little bit more like fun, elegant. Whereas your lenses are like really big. Like you have a skinnier tie, but you have these
Oh,
lenses.
my men over there, they're like, let's go. Okay, no, we're going to be fine. Go ahead.
I think they convey intelligence and they kind of show like I know what I'm doing. Like
That. I love this because Esme is more female, right? So the men are like, work the steps up. Yeah, but that's another thing I want you to think about. Like the glasses. Yeah, the glasses. Glasses traditionally communicate what? Intelligence. And what I was trying to get at is that when you see someone wearing glasses, there are a lot of people who just have fake specs, right? Fake glasses. Why? Because it just communicates intelligence. We have been socialized into believing that people with glasses are somehow smarter. Don't ask me where that came from. I guess they read it more so their eyes go out. I don't know. But that is what we have come to believe. Now, what I want to say about Sam is that he is a fashion student. He works in the fashion industry. So the glasses may not work for someone who's more conservative, someone who's in a conservative background. And her feedback was very well received because even the constructive feedback is good because it shows you that according to your interviewer's personality, they're going to think either like she thought or they're going to think the way the guys thought. Right? And this is why it's good. I'm very accustomed, you know, Sam, your fashion sense is not bothered at all, right? Because he works in the fashion industry. This is how he has to present himself to sell suits to Nostrum customers, to come across as a, I know what I'm talking about. I am fashion forward. Big glasses are in. I'm going to wear it because I am up on the trends. Right? So, thank you. Okay, so what is she communicating? All right, let's start. What is her dress? Professional or business casual?
More business to business casual.
More business casual. Okay, what makes you feel as if she's communicating business casual? Yeah, you wanted to add something?
She needs to iron her shirt.
Okay, so you would think, okay, so you think she needs to iron her shirt. Okay, that's good feedback. You need to think about that when you go on interviews. It may be material. Let's see the material, okay? Okay, some materials. So this is a good point, right? Some materials are easier to hold that iron than others. So you want to think of what type of material shades you're buying, right? Because some of them get ruffled a lot quicker. Okay, so what else? What is she communicating?
I really like your pants, and I feel like that kind of adds to the
Okay, good. Good. You like her pants? Maybe her shoes, yeah? Go ahead.
I feel like she's like dressed for something or she's gonna be creative after. She's got like colorful shoes and like hat pants. So it's like she's gonna be using more like basic or right.
Excellent. Right, so that would work for them. Anything else? What attitude is she communicating? She's friendly, approachable, excellent. Right, and that is a good thing to communicate, right? Especially if you're going into managerial positions, you don't want to communicate, intimidate. You want to be powerful, you want to be in charge, but you don't want to be intimidating. They wouldn't want to hire you if no one wants to communicate with you, right? Okay, good. Thank you so much. Model number 3. What is he communicating?
business casual.
Business casual. Where's he going to interview at? What?
Maybe a library.
Okay, library. Okay, where else? What could just be general, right? So business casual could be any job where they want you to be laid back. What is an industry or a department where people always dress very business casual? Technology, exactly. And trust me, in Seattle, that's huge. It may not work, as I say, for the accounting firm, but if you're going to be a techie, they're techies, they're always comfortable. You know, they associate them with what dictates. They're always in jeans and a t-shirt. It may even have like a superhero on it. You don't want to be interviewing that, but I'm saying that each type or each style of dress is for a different industry and a different type of department, right? So, okay, thank you. Okay, next model. What kind of dress? Casual dress. Same kind. What kind of job she could be going for? Pammy? No, let's speak up. She like what? Okay, so what would make you feel she looks messy?
The classical pants are kind of like slouchy and kind of like a baggy shirt.
Okay, so is there any industry that would work for, or you think that there should be a more polished look? Even if she's good in a business casual environment. Okay, now remember, these models, and this is maybe fashion, okay, so I told these students to dress in professional, business casual, or just wear whatever. So don't feel bad to give constructive feedback, just be kind, right? There are ways you can express yourself, you know, and just be kind about your feedback and constructive, right? So if you think that, hey, her pants could be shinier, she could polish what, her boots, a little more, they could have a little shine to it, even if she's good in the fashion industry. That's good feedback, right? So what is she communicating? No, it's okay. She looks pretty laid back. What else? What else you don't see? What about her face? Does she have on any makeup? Exactly. All of that was, no, don't feel bad because all of that was done intentionally, right? She did not wear any makeup. She wore something that she felt, okay, I'm just going to put it on to see if you're going to communicate that she's dressed well or that she could work on some things, right? So this is all a constructive exercise. Okay, all right. Okay, one more, and similar. What type of dress? What can she do better? Is there anything to improve on? Longer pants. Okay, good. Okay, what else? Come on, anything else? What else she could improve on? What could you? Should she just start all over with the outfit, or could she tweak it a little? What do you think? Yes?
Well, because her shirt's tight, they maybe wear a belt.
Okay, a belt, good.
Maybe some jewelry, because the shirt looks dressy, but then the rest of the outfit isn't dressy. So.
Okay, good. And what is she communicating? Someone said something? Did someone say student? I don't know. What is she communicating? Yes?
Like the outfit's pretty plain, so kind of just a relaxed.
A relaxed look, right? So not quite in charge, not like, you know, I'm confident, just relaxed, like, okay, I'll put this on, I'm going for the interview, right? So, does she have any makeup? No? A little bit, you can see a little bit of makeup. Okay, eyeliner, okay. What about the glasses? Does the glasses add to the outfit? Is it the saving grace or does it not add? Take out your glasses and let's see what you look like without the glasses. Do you have a different opinion if she showed up in that outfit without the glasses? Okay, put on the glasses. You see the points I said about glasses? Somehow the other, the glasses just make her look what? A little more intelligent. So you'd be like, you know what, you don't know what it is, but maybe the glasses give her that edge, right? They would give her that edge for you to be like, okay, she may not be dressed the best, but let me listen to what she has to say. So these are ways that, you know, dressing is like a science. You can figure it out. Okay, and last we have, okay, so where is he going? Is it professional dress, business casual? What's your take on it? More business casual. Okay. What industry is he going to interview in? Fashion. He looks like a fashion student.
Looks like something out of a JCPenney ad.
JCPenney? I feel more like the J. Crew. Okay, good. I would say J. Crew because it's pretty sharp. Okay, so what gave you the impression that he's going for a job in the fashion industry?
He's not afraid to use the color.
He's not afraid to use the color. Good. That communicates something. Like that communicates confidence in that word. What else? Yes?
His hair, he like styles his hair to the side, kind of.
Good. His hair is well
Well
styled
kept.
and well knit. Yes?
He's got tight jeans and like mid-top shoes.
Okay. Good. And he's wearing these. I don't know if y'all can see his shoes, but I actually really like these shoes. This is what they're doing now. They have these dress shoes with colors on them and colored laces. Now, definitely you don't want to wear that to the accounting firm. You don't want to wear that. But if you're going for an interview where they want you to be creative, these are ways that you can use your personality and communicate that. So like if you look online, you'll start seeing these shoes. So he is just up and up on the fashion trends. Okay, so thank you so much. Okay, give them a hand. Okay, and from that exercise, right, some of you at certain points, some of you were like, oh, don't say that. But the point of it, the reason I asked them to do this, understanding that, hey, they're going to get positive and negative feedback, is to show you how brutal corporate can be. Right? And you may not get the feedback, you may just never get the job, and you may never know why you're not getting the job. But the same way it's easy for you to sit down and give constructive feedback and be like, oh, I like that, I don't like that. It's the same way an interviewer is going to be assessing you. So that's what you have to remember when you dress yourself and you go for the job. Do you have any questions in the last 3 minutes? I don't want to not give you a chance to ask questions. Yes?
For women, is it preferable to wear a suit or a dress? Both being really informal.
Okay, so if you wear a dress, the key is to wear a jacket over it. Right? And according to the industry, as I say, if you're going into a more laid-back industry, like the fashion industry, you may be able to get away with crop sleeve dress. But definitely if you're going in any other type of very strict corporate environment, you can wear a dress and a jacket over it, and it just looks like what? It looks like a jacket and a skirt. Right? And you put on jewelry. That way, you don't even have to put on what? A camisole. It eliminates it. Like dresses are literally a woman's best friend. It's like a one-stop station. It's great. Okay, anything else? Yes?
What do you think about men's earrings?
Earrings?
Like earrings?
As I said, if you're going to a creative job where you go in and the guy has on short sleeve t-shirts and tattoos and earrings, that's fine. But for any other environment, I would just stay clear of any accessories for men until you get the job and you examine what the other people are doing at the job. Then you could decide where to go. But for your interview, you just want to look as modest but as memorable as possible. I would just leave it home. You really wouldn't pass out if you don't wear it for one day, right? You'll still be pretty juicy. Yeah. Okay, it's all about the attitude. Any other questions? Okay, so y'all have been a really, really great crowd. Thank you for participating.